Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We're here with Justin Breen, who is the founder and CEO of the global PR firm Brepic, and he has a book called Epic Life, which is all about how to find your ikigai and set big, hairy goals and reach your full potential and so much more. So, Justin, glad to be speaking with you.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting conversation. Most of my days talking to the world's top visionaries that are all over the place, ADD, endless shiny objects, and I'm pure simplifier, pattern recognizer. So it's like ADD meets minor Asperger's, and that's why it works.
And you found your niche, you found your intersection. And so if someone asked you what you're all about, you said ADD meets Asperger's. What do you do? What's your solution? What's the elevator pitch?
Elevator pitch. Interesting. Elevator pitch. Yeah, I haven't heard that term in a long time. So I just talk to the world's top visionaries and connect them, and then I spend time with my family. So as a journalist for 20 years, you don't get into that for business owner stuff or employee counts. So two global companies that are just extensions of purpose, which is to connect visionaries and share their stories with the world.
And do you have anything to tell us about visionaries that you've connected that are noteworthy, or lessons that you've heard from these visionaries?
I mean, endless. If I'm not the dumbest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. In the PR space, one of our partners is the Schuler Scholar Foundation. So Jack Schuler, he's over 80 now. He's a Forbes billionaire, and he's giving away all of his money. Over the last 20 years, he's invested 9 figures, but even after he dies, he's giving away all his money to help underserved kids in the Chicago and Milwaukee area. I'm sure that'll expand around the Midwest, but kids from those areas to go to schools like Harvard and Yale for free. So I just like to talk to people like that, or who want to become someone like that. Or another one of our PR partners, Greg Washington, he had the gun to his head, but he didn't pull the trigger because his cousin called him. He's a veteran, so to raise awareness for PTSD and mental health for veterans, he walked 1,800 miles from his father's hometown in Mississippi to West Point. He played football at Army, so it's people like that.
Fun. That gives us a good idea of these people that have these big visions and take these massive actions. And you said that you have this journalistic kind of experience, so you like talking to people, you like investigating, but how do you get access to people like this? Is it a matter of always prospecting, always working way up the ladder? What's the secret?
No. Yeah, so that's a business owner consultant. I appreciate the question.
Sure.
My brain doesn't work like that. I'm not a systems person. I'm just a pure action taker and pattern recognizer. And my favorite quote, besides from my dad, who always said the cream rises to the top, that's my favorite quote. But besides that, is from Earl Nightingale. He's like the OG. So he's long gone, but my favorite quote of his is, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is progressive realization of worthy ideal." So my worthy ideal is zone of genius, unique ability, purpose of life, which is to be connecting superhero for every visionary who shares stories with the world. So when you're constantly in purpose and you focus on your purpose, then it's just a magnet for other people that focus on their purpose, and it eliminates business owner, consultant, scarcity world.
I love it. I can get some of that from you. A lot of when I speak to you or ask you questions, you're very clear about what you're not about, but what you don't do, what the answer is not, and that way you can focus on what there is. And so what are we all missing? Like, we all go through life and we all make mistakes, or there are things we're not even aware of. What should the average person or the non-average person be thinking more about? Should we be thinking about this focus, this vision, or our uniqueness? Like, what do you see everyone in the world getting completely wrong?
Oh, I don't. So thank you for bringing that up. You're an includer empath. I don't, I only talk to visionaries, so I don't talk to humans or consultants because it's a pointless conversation into nothing because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything with that information anyway. So I connect visionaries to visionaries because they help everyone. They help everyone else. So I just think about the visionary who's creating it. So why I wrote Epic Life is I talk to 1 to 2 visionaries every single week that have let entrepreneur life destroy their family life or prevented them from having a family, or they're visionaries who are focused on business owner stuff and they're not business owners, they're visionaries. So that's why I wrote Epic Life. It's how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. There's nothing right or wrong. It's just I don't want to let entrepreneur life destroy their family life, my family life. So I just put my family first.
Well, that's a great goal. And so, in your opinion, when we listen to these visionaries, is the goal to say, I should become a visionary, or
No,
should I
no,
stay within
no,
my box and
no,
take
no.
the trickle bit? Or like, what am I supposed to get from these visionary type of lessons?
So you're a good bridge. You're a good relator. You want to relate to your audience, and you're being a litmus test for people you serve, which I appreciate. If you're not a litmus test for people you serve, if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, that's hypocrisy. So you're either born a visionary or you're not. Um, I mean, you're it can most people, if you could say, hey, you make as much money as you want to, do what you like to do and what you're good at, change the world, people would sign up for that. But these are the 4 things that separate visionaries from humans or business owners, consultants. 4 things. So 1 is bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety that you can imagine. And 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans and business owners, consultants, those are excuses. For visionary, that's the fuel. So you're either born with the fuel, coping skills, the visionary ability to be a visionary, or you're not. I mean, because if you were, you would do it. But most people aren't. They make excuses. So if you are born a visionary, you can work on your mindset every day. You can work on that. You can work on your mindset, and then I just practice gratitude every day. And I've realized visionaries usually marry stabilizing humans. Usually, so like my wife's a pediatrician, so like a social worker, nurse, doctor, human, finance person, teacher. And then having that grateful mindset, gratitude mindset is the mindset equivalent of marrying a stabilizing human. So that you can work on, but you're either born someone like this or you're not.
This is interesting to think about. And I've heard you a few times here mention how there's visionaries and there's humans, almost as if visionaries are like a separate piece of the
They are.
human race.
Yeah,
And I imagine,
aliens.
well, there you go. And so I imagine that there are these visionaries that maybe squander their potential or make mistakes or maybe let the arrogance get the best of them. So what sort of pitfalls do you see these visionaries making?
So what an entrepreneur, a visionary actually is they're the most damaged person with the best coping skills. So they have those most people I talk to now are 3s and 4s of those 4 things. So they have the most damage, but then they have the best coping skills. So they have highest IQ, highest EQ, most courage, most hustle, no excuses. So like again, a regular human could not create massive company that changes the world. They don't, that's impossible. That's why they're employees for visionary maniac that does. So most damaged person with best coping skills, and then use the coping skills to create massive revenue, massive employee count, massive office, whatever that massive locations. I don't know, massive house. And then certainly not always, but many times at expense of spending time with family, having family, multiple marriages, torch family. So like that's what I see over and over, over and over. So that's why I wrote Epic Life.
You see the massiveness, you see the churn and burn, the chaos, the
Most
turnover.
damage,
This, yeah,
most damage, but they have the best, like the burn and churn. Humans can't do that. I mean, they would, they would burn out. Entrepreneur has the EQ and IQ and ability to create something no matter what. But again, that's the fuel that is used to, the damage is the fuel that creates all this stuff. And then other stuff gets bypassed. So that, I mean, and then to double down on that, entrepreneurs, and I hate using the word should, but like entrepreneurs should be rewarded the most they should be rewarded with the best family life, the best personal relationships, because they're the ones that take the biggest risks and create everything that, that employs everyone else. I mean, if you think about anything, like literally anything that's not nature, it was created by an entrepreneur. Anything. Some people ask me all the time, they're like, what do you like about entrepreneur life or entrepreneurship? I'm like, well, look around. Anything that's created that you use was created by an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurs should be rewarded the most for that creation, and then their family lives are torched the most many times. So it's the opposite reward. It's like a punishment. So that's why I wrote the book.
Well, it is a cruel world. And you're so right that even in the video I'm seeing of you, I mean, the glasses you're wearing, the clothes you're wearing, the fence behind you, the microphone in front of you, the tree that's growing behind you, those are all entrepreneurs, business owners, building those things, planting those things. And I think we've all come across people like that, where they have this damage that you've mentioned, and it just like fuels everything else. And they create so much, they have so much energy, just so much comes off of them. And you're all about these ideas like abundance and gratitude. And unfortunately, sometimes that gets trapped in the world of the cliches and the quotes. And some people
By humans, it
pay it
does.
lip service and they don't mean it. What's that?
Yeah, a human traps it in that world because they don't understand. So that's why it's a conversation into nothing, because there's no understanding. And then an entrepreneur isn't going to understand a business owner, and then vice versa, because business owners are focused on transactional, changing their world there, and then an entrepreneur is focused on transformational, changing the world. So it's a totally separate conversation. And again, it all starts with having that mindset, which attracts like mindset and then repels opposite. It's just a magnet.
So you're saying that there's no communicating, there's no overlap, there's no understanding middle ground, two separate types of people.
Two separate types of, it's two separate, it's a different language. In 6 years as an entrepreneur, very few times I've seen the switch go on. Very few. Almost never. Because you're either born like that or you're not. And then a true entrepreneur will never quit. So you just keep going. And then, so I talk like this most of my life, and then most of my life, no one understood what I was talking about, but you keep doing it, because success is progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And then eventually you find the worthy ideal network. I mean, that's what you just keep going. You just never stop.
Eventually you find your people, and that's even more possible today with social media and podcasting and everything else. So in your entrepreneurial journey, it's always fun to hear about stories. So do you have a fun story to tell us about how you failed and you had a problem and you came out of it?
No failure. Yeah.
No failure.
No failure. Yeah. Failure is a human term. So no. So a true entrepreneur. So I'm in Strategic Coach, one of top entrepreneur groups in the world. Very grateful for that. Dan Sullivan's the co-founder of that. So no failure. You're either winning or learning. Yeah. So no. Yeah.
How about a learning experience you feel like sharing?
Every day. End of 2018, I'd made more money in 1 year than I ever thought possible. I'd never been more miserable in my life. So that was great to learn that more money doesn't equal more happiness. That was less than 2 years into first company. And when you start a company, it really takes 2 years to figure it out. And it hadn't been at the 2-year mark, so I hadn't figured it out what entrepreneur life actually is. So I'm glad that happened. My father, chapter 1 of Epic Life is the cream rises to the top, which is my favorite quote, which is something my father said every day. He died when I was 13. He was 61 when I was born. So he was born in 1916 and came from nothing. World War II hero, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, became attorney in Nazi war crime Nuremberg trials, and genius brain. And so the cream rises to the top. So what I've learned is eventually the true visionary, they're the cream that rises to the top.
Is it possible that there are poser visionaries or people that think they're visionaries but are not?
Great question. So my brain simplifies everything into patterns, and we partner with folks that have only 3 attributes in their mindset, only 3. Because when you have these 3 attributes, you can only be one of 2 types of people. Okay, so 1 is visionary, so not human, not business owner, not consultant, visionary. They see things before others. 2 is they live in abundance, no scarcity, no excuses, only full abundance. And then 3, this is where they might think they're a visionary. They might think they're a visionary, but they're not, because we only partner with folks that look at things as investments, not costs. The posers, are the ones that aren't really visionaries and aren't really abundant, are the ones that still look at things as cost, not investment. And that's a fundamental. Never can be a visionary, never can live in abundance if you look at things as cost. It's impossible, because it's the opposite of vision, and it's the opposite of abundance. And then those people are their own worst enemies. So when you have visionary, abundance, investment mindset, you can be one of 2 types of people. 1, running high 6-figure to 10-figure company. You see your family, friends whenever you want to, no excuses. So that's most of the people I talk to. And then 2, you're not there yet, profit revenue wise, but you will be. So you're not in that first group yet, but you will be. So you just do whatever it takes. So the ones that aren't really visionaries are the ones that make the excuses or look at things as costs that prevent them from actually becoming visionaries.
I love it. You need these unstoppable people. And if someone is
100%.
If someone checks some of these boxes and they're on their path, you mentioned that you coach these types of people, that you have this group of people. How does someone take some action with you? How do they get on the Justin Breen train?
Well, there's a couple things from that. 1, you're a great simplifier. I appreciate that. I like talking to simplifiers because I'm a simplifier, and then we just keep simplifying what we're saying. So unstoppable people, that's what they are. There's no stopping them, and then they're not really people, they're aliens, because they're aliens within their own family, community, and vertical. So unstoppable aliens. So
Black sheep, right?
black sheep, yeah, one of the that's a great thing you said, and then I'll answer your question. But whenever I write a 3rd book, one of the chapters will be called Sheepdogs, because most of the world is sheep farmer brain. And then a sheepdog, I looked it up, but a sheepdog has only 2 scientifically proven roles. A sheepdog has 2 scientifically proven roles. This is according to Science Daily. And you can replace sheepdog with entrepreneur. Okay, so sheepdog with entrepreneur. So 1 is to keep the sheep in line, 2, push them forward. So you don't talk to them, you don't eat dinner with them, you just push them in line, keep them forward. And then an entrepreneur is a shepherd. So like a shepherd's herding the sheepdogs. So that's why I like to be in rooms with other sheepdogs where there's 1 shepherd herding them, because you can. And then my second company is I'm the shepherd of the sheepdogs, so I'm a sheepdog and a shepherd. And then we only partner with visionaries. So almost every visionary is a high quick start in Kolbe, Kolbe. And then the visionaries just write the check, and then they don't ask, what do you cost or charge? They say, what does an investment with you look like? And then they write the check. And then that pretty much solves itself.
Amazing. Well, you have accomplished what a lot of us want to do, which is figuring out our group of people, figuring out our own lookalike audience, those clones of ourselves, so that way we can just instantly relate, don't have to try too hard, don't have to speak these different languages. And so if someone wants to investigate you more and look into joining this program, what's the call to action? What's the URL?
Well, Brepic Network is literally LinkedIn for visionaries. It's invite only, high price point connectivity platform. I guess the main site of that is brepicnetwork.com. But I have folks reaching out all the time, and then if they do, I always have them take a mindset scorecard, which is at our main site, which is brepicllc.com, and I found people qualify or disqualify themselves with their own mindset.
Very interesting. brepicllc.com. And I can't think of a time when I was more uncomfortable talking to a person than talking to you, but that's what it's all about, right? We like to it's nice to be uncomfortable and kind of talk to different people. And it's you definitely know who you are and the kind of person that you want to be. And so Epic Life is the book that people should check out. And before we sign off here, it's always fun to be introspective and think about, what advice do you wish you'd gotten 20 years ago? Does anything come to mind?
No. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I would have answered that in a different way, but how Brain has evolved is no, because I'm glad. No, because things are just meant to happen when they're meant to happen. If I had gotten advice 20 years ago, then I wouldn't be talking to you right now, meaning it would have everything, all the entire timeline would have been changed. So we were meant to talk right now. And so things were meant to be exactly how they're meant to be. So I'm glad of everything that I've went through, up and down, especially the down, because that's where you really learn something, and then it makes you appreciate the ups much more.
No regrets. Amazing and awesome.
Oh,
Justin Breen from Epic Life, the book. And anything to say as we wrap up, or should we just wrap it up?
oh well, one, thank you. Two, I just keep making bigger investments to be in smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impact. So write bigger checks to be in smaller rooms where people in those rooms are making bigger impact. So, and then created own room for that, multiple rooms like that. And then two, that allows me to spend biggest investment in smallest room, which is my family, where I can make most impact. So it's the same formula.
That is amazing. I'm going to have to go back on the recording and listen to those last couple of sentences a few times, because there's so many cool and fun steps in there. And I really appreciate it, and appreciate you too, Justin, from the book Epic Life and BrepicLLC.com. We will see you there, and I'll see you around the internet and social media, Justin.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.